Machine here, and you're watching Thorin's YouTube channel. 20-minute video for 2 minutes worth of content. Gold.
If you're a Counter-Strike fan, then listen up, because CS.MONEY is a complete skin ecosystem. You can trade, you can buy, you can sell skins all in one place without trade hold, and they have 24/7 support on hand in case you have any kind of issues using the site, using the service. Now, one of the secrets of Korean esports I'm about to reveal here is the way that fan clubs have been essential to building up interest, maintaining fan attendance at events, and generally actually being what fuels their scene in terms of live event attendance. Because when people talk about Korean esports, they talk in big, very vague terms, because most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They never went to Korea, and they never studied the system there, they never asked people who were involved in it, they never looked at the mechanics of the way the scene operates. So this applies to practically every esports game in the West, because we don't have these things. So League of Legends, CSGO, I'll go more later in the video and specifically in those games how it would help. But all people tend to do is look at the big numbers in Korean esports. They particularly focus on the 2000s, and they just blather vaguely about, oh, it's about the culture there. You know, it's the second biggest sport after baseball. They don't even know what they're talking about when they say this. What they don't look at, though, as I say, is the actual mechanics. Like, what tactics did people use to get people to go to a stadium every week to watch these matches, to attend even the shitty teams' games that might not matter as much and you still want to have a crowd there? What general strategies, what were the concepts behind what they were trying to do that grew this interest, and then, crucially, this is what the West is missing, helped monetize this? So if you're an org in the West, whether you're Cloud9 or you're some org at a way lower level, listen up, because this could be essential to starting a grassroots movement within your fan base that actually makes you essentially a power player when it comes to invites, leagues that want to have you be a part of it, on a different metric than is currently being judged. Not just the number of Twitter follows you have, not just some vague sense of how many Reddit flares you have, not just people thinking, well, they're a history team, so I would want them in my league. This is a way you can actually prove, and you can show metrics that show I have value additionally to how good my team is inside the server of a particular game. So within South Korea, fan clubs are essential to following a team because they secure a whole bunch of tickets, potentially, for fans of that team who is playing on that particular day, because Korean esports tends to be a league or a tournament format where you know in advance exactly all the play days, you know when each of the teams is going to play, and so they don't just leave it to chance like we do at Western and just hope everyone turns up and, oh, well, it's in Chicago, and I mean, I invited like some NA teams in CSGO, so I guess they'll come, and we're having it in Madison Square Garden, it's two good teams got to the finals, guys, so let's hope everyone goes to the LCS. No, you don't just fucking throw it out there and just hope. You don't just put your event in a bottle, as it were, and just chuck it in the ocean and hope it just drifts to the fucking continent you want. No, you actually essentially target the people who want to attend your events, want to know about your events, want to know about your team because they care about your team and have already put themselves through one of the sort of sluices, through a threshold, through a gate that says that they will be people who they're self-selecting to be targeted by you in order to do this. So these same clubs, they coordinate the people who come and attend the events. We've got this many tickets, this many people have agreed to do it. They're in the fan club. These people get tickets. Right, great. If you've ever seen it, any of those players, like Faker, any of the Korean players in any big game, where they're all eating like cupcakes and they're getting gifts and that comes from the fan club. Like, it's not just any random player can just walk up to the players. That you go through the fan club aspect. It's also a way to get gifts to players, to coordinate between fans and players, so you don't just have every notch off the street able to go up. When you hear at the beginning of a StarCraft or an Overwatch or a League of Legends game in Korea, that like, 1, 2, 3, like, yes, KT fighting, like, that's not just random fans. Like, that isn't just like some spontaneous fucking crowd chant that goes on. In the same way as if you watch the English Premier League, people aren't doing all those chants just because one guy decided to start singing it. There's a guy, a drummer that leads it, or somebody who starts to chant off, or even somebody who's sort of his job unofficially to do that. Now, in this sense, that's literally what they do in Korean esports. That's where it comes from, because it comes from how they follow K-pop. A lot of these are young teenage girls actually in Korea, and they follow the players as if they were idols, like the K-pop idols. So Koreans love to coordinate, do things together, do things in unison essentially, and follow a script like, oh, this is when I do it right, that's when I cheer. And that's why they are very polite actually as to when they shout at the beginning of those games. They don't shout over each other. One goes first, one goes there. They even coordinate that shit and decide. So let's apply apply this to the West. The scene with Brazilian fans, way more over collectively than Korea, but fuck all way to coordinate them, to know when they'll turn up, what they're going to do. You just pray and hope, fingers crossed, and definitely no way to monetize them in the meaningful sense of traditional Western sports, which is the level of investment we're starting to get to at this point in time. Like, we have more investment in esports and games like League of Legends than the fucking NFL did probably for the first 80 years. Like, this is ridiculous that we're not monetizing it. So think about this. If you had an official fan club for Cloud9, for TSM, for, if you want to go into CS, for FaZe Clan, for Virtus Pro, whatever it might be, Na'Vi, we'll go all the way around the world, Tyloo, Renegades. If you had an official fan club, first and foremost, what a brilliant way to potentially sell merchandise to your fans. You can have the fan club leaders bring it to the event, so then the fans who come see, oh, they can buy a t-shirt as well. That might not even be on offer at some of all these events. They're sure at LCS Day, I think they sell some of that stuff up front, but they don't at all the CS events necessarily. Some of them do, if it's an ESL event, etc. But this is another way your events that you attend can get merch out there, can start selling. The people who run the fan club can get a commission off it or be paid directly, I'd hope, in terms of the main person running it all. Then you can coordinate attendance of events you're going to be at. Now, I even think there's a secondary element that I hope orgs are listening to right now as to how they can go to TO's tournament organisers and potentially make themselves more valuable as orgs, irrelevant of how good they are in the game, which is, if you could get a whole block of tickets like those fans in Korea are, and you can now distribute them to fans of yours who apply that they want to attend that particular day, you've now literally proven a monetization method and a much more effective way of getting fans who actually want to go to this tournament than currently the willy-nilly approach where TOs sometimes don't know until a week before whether they're going to sell out, whether they're going to only have half the people in the fucking stadium. Now, that would be a big, big deal, because at the moment in games like CSGO, you get invited to the tournament. So at the moment, you've got an indirect influence, which is if you're Cloud9 or Virtus Pro, some of these big, big names, yeah, you can be bad at the game and get invites because people think you'll help sell tickets, and people will come just to see you or to meet your players. It doesn't always work, as you saw with some of those lineups. Similarly, if you're going to be in a franchised league or you're going to have a particular thing, you want to know that you can bring a certain fan base. At the moment, they're looking at stupid nebulous shit like Twitter followers as though that even necessarily means something if half of them were from fucking 5 years ago. So here's another great benefit to having one of these fan clubs. What a great way for someone to prove themselves capable, reliable, like passionate about your brand. There's your future org employees. There's a future player manager. There's a future PR manager, someone like that. You can even test people out in your sort of fan club aspect and then see one day if you want to bring them in. Some of them will work for free or on a part-time basis, and then eventually you bring them in. I'll also say this, here's another great use of a fan club. Why not source ideas from types of merchandise they'd like? What types of activations they'd like to see players take part in? Like, which of the players are they interested in? What way? How about use them as a fucking focus group for future merch, for future ideas, for branding aspects? Get a sense in the same way as politics did in the 90s with the Clinton campaign and the Blair government of Labour, where they used to heavily use focus groups to test their messaging before they went out to the general public so they can get a sense of what do people actually like our fan base, our party, or people who don't like it, how do they respond to certain things? Imagine being able to do that. Imagine essentially being able to find out who your fans really are, what they want, and how you can accommodate and negotiate with them to get the things that they want into their hands instead of just throwing it out there or trusting TOs who maybe get a small cut or at the moment take way too much of the money to just directly sell all your merch for you and sell the tickets to your fans, etc. Why don't you take that on board yourself? So if you're in a game like League of Legends, I could already see this literally revolutionizing attendance to the LCS, attendance to the finals by the big teams, making it so that it's more than just a league that's about Twitter followers and overall investment. Like, this would be a great way to show it. In CS, we have so many events that the TOs are desperate to sell out, and when they don't sell out, it's depressing when it's in a big venue in America and that's not selling out, so then they have to go hold it in some place that's not really that great a place to visit, but it's very cheap and the margins are all crushed. Instead, if you can guarantee certain NA orgs are going to have all these fans in attendance and that they're going to sell all this extra merch and that they're going to get a block of tickets themselves and take care of that, and you can guarantee 500 or 1,000 people there for one really big team, this is where we're going to get to a monetization method. And yeah, you know what? It's going to take more work on your part, the orgs out there. But that's the point. The TOs are losing money. You're losing money. We're trying to convince the game devs and the players and the talent to understand that they're draining all the money out at the moment. This is a better way to increase monetization, cooperation, and make a better ecosystem for everyone. This video was kindly supported by Alexander Rao, Blunt Smoking Anus Destroyer, Dane Cuskley, Dean Tanglis, Chi Mao, JDubs, NateDOhDoubleG, Peter the Feeder, Tobias Bernasconi, and a special thanks goes out to Jerky's Minion and Mohammed, Alabdul, Razzaq. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Maybe you'd like to ask me a question in my monthly Patreon AMA. Would you like teasers on upcoming content that I'm doing? Maybe you want to take part in a discussion directly with me? Well, if so, then put your money where your mouth is and join the Scrilluminati today at the Patreon link in the description below.